Hi, it's Matt, and this is my morning monologue. And I've been having a reflective morning, and I've been thinking, I've been thinking over my career and thinking about, assessing where I'm at and, maybe things I will sort of do differently in the future than I did in the past. And I was thinking sort of specifically about some choices that I made in auditions that were not necessarily self-serving. For example, I'll give you a few examples of times in auditions where I did things that didn't serve me very well. So there was this one time when I got an audition for a movie, and it was a very small character, and it was only in one scene, and it was basically just a guy in a bar, restaurant type of thing, and he just had like one or two things to say, maybe even just like one or two words, very, very, very little to say. And so what I did was, on the way to the audition, I reflected on the character, why he was there, that sort of thing, and I wrote a monologue for him. And so then when I got there to the audition, I said to the casting director, I told them that, I wrote a monologue. I said, there's not a whole lot here on the page, so I wrote a monologue, and I'm happy to, share that. After I do the scene, then maybe I could do the monologue, and it would give, some more insight for the director. And she said, "Oh, Matt, don't overthink it." And I said, "Too late." So I did the audition, sans the monologue, and then she turned off the camera and she said, "Do you want to do the monologue for me?" And I said, "I would love to." And I did the monologue for her. And she said, "Have you ever thought about being a writer?" And I was like, I guess I didn't get the part, did I? All right, so I don't think that was necessarily self-serving. Another thing that I did, which is in hindsight was, and actually in the moment I knew was a bad idea, but for some reason I did it anyway. I got called back for it, interestingly enough. I was auditioning for an off-Broadway thing, and I did my audition, and as part of the audition, they wanted me to show a story that I made up. They wanted me to show it non-verbally, and they wanted me to include external music and a prop or something like that. So I did it. And when I was leaving the room, I looked at the light switch on the wall right by the door, and I said to myself, I heard a voice in my head say, "Don't do it. Don't do it." And I just watched my hand reach out and turn off the lights. And then I left the room. And then I popped back in, and I went like, "I can't believe I did that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I turned the lights on, and they were like, what just happened? Actually, they were kind of cool about it. So the third thing that I'm going to share with you is a time when I got called back for something, and I was in the callback. I was in the room, and then they said, "Matt, could you step outside for a little bit? We want to have a little conversation." And I said, "Right on, cool, no problem." So I stepped outside. I went out into the waiting room, and I'm standing there, and I saw there's like these benches, like they're kind of like bleacher benches, like single row bleacher benches, and there were some actors like sitting there and stuff like that, waiting to go in. And for some reason, I just had the urge to hide underneath one of the benches, which I did. And then the director actually came out, and he was like, "Hey," and he was looking for me. He was like, "Matt, Matt." And I went like this. I went, And he didn't get startled or anything. He just looked at me like, what are you doing? And great stories, Matt. Classic Matt. So I think in hindsight, I probably will do less of that sort of thing going forward. So those are basically, just sort of some stories for some young actors out there that, you may not want to do that sort of, or you might, who knows? Who knows, it might have some payoff later on that I'm not aware of. Maybe the universe is conspiring. You know what? This brings me back to pronoia, which I talked about a couple of days ago. And I'll take this opportunity to update you on my pronoia experiment. So as I've shared for the past few days, pronoia is the opposite of paranoia. And pronoia is a delusion, apparently. And people believe that the universe is conspiring on their behalf. And everyone in it is conspiring on their behalf for their good, right? And so what I've been experimenting with this is the third day of it now, I have been experimenting with being part of that conspiracy on your behalf and on everyone's behalf that I encounter. And it's been going well. It's like sort of like sometimes I start to like get like frustrated or something like that, and then I go like, oh, pronoia, and then I sort of make the adjustment, and it's been going well. I'll keep you posted as I go, and have a good day.